I'm Peter Blatchley, and I'm the owner of the Morrison Hotel Gallery. And today we're very, very pleased to welcome a wonderful photographer by the name of Greene. And we have an exhibition in our gallery here in New York. This exhibition will continue through the month of October. And then we will have Herbie's permanent collection in all three of our galleries of the Morrison Hotel in La Jolla, California, Los Angeles, California, and here in Soho, New York City.
I was walking up in North Beach looking for beatniks. That's why we came to San Francisco, was to connect with that thing. I was walking by this club, it was Coffee and Confusion. I heard a bluegrass band play, and I really loved bluegrass when I was in high school. And so I went in the place, and it was Sleepy Hollow Hog Stompers, which is Jerry Garcia. All right. So these guys are up there playing, and after the set, I walked up to the stage and talked to Jerry. There's a small number of people. I was the guy with long hair and the camera, and I hooked up with, I met Jerry and those guys again somehow. I'm not sure how it all happened, but we all connected. Again, there's maybe 50 of us, and so everybody knew everybody. And again, that being a small community, they were friends. So I naturally worked with them, and I had this little photo studio, and everybody wanted to do it. And it's like I got $50 a sitting. There was a guy named Doyle Phillips who came to town. He published magazines, little band directories. So all the bands signed up to be in this magazine. I made a lot of the photographs for that little book. I had a studio, the hieroglyphic wall was in my flat. I was taking some classes in field techniques and anthropology, which were taking photographs as objectively as you can. So the background gave it a uniform look, and it also gave you an idea how tall people were. And you could photograph. There's a lot of information packed into these that you just don't see off the top. They were mostly for the 8x10 glossy market. Well, the airplane stuff turned out to be a record cover. So we start with eating, probably have a buffet, ham and turkey, wine, beer, whatever else, and have a party basically for the bulk of the time they were there, and then do the photography in a short period of time. Have at least an hour so that I could do a portrait of each person in the band and a group shot, like for Led Zeppelin, Jeff Beck, because these guys didn't have a lot of time. So it wasn't like, there's the school of portraiture where, the guy won't take his camera out of the case until he's familiarized himself with the subject matter intimately for like a week. There was that school. And for this is like instantaneous stuff. You don't have time. The idea is that when they're there to be somewhat entertaining, which means feeding them, and then everybody's comfortable, then you do the portraits. And my whole objective was just to make people look intelligent, which they were. So it really wasn't that hard. She explained that in that Rolling Stone issue, the 50 great rock portraits of all time. It was just something to do. It was just something to do. But yeah, you can say, well, yeah, flipping you off. In that new Rhino package, there's a couple of pages of people flipping birds. Bill Graham had an in-house basketball team, and they were the Fillmore Fingers. And he was famous for the finger. He gave the world the finger. Hard Day's Night Beatle influence, that. The shoes, the gesturing, all that, that's Hard Day's Night, that everybody was stoked on. It had a big effect on the scene. The Dead on Hay. This is back in the day when you could just say, let's go take a picture, fellas, and they would all come charging out of the house and be there for you and have a good time. Those days were left behind quite suddenly, so access became a problem. Yeah. But then it was very free and loose, and everybody understood the significance of making photographs. The Dead were great at that. Garcia understood the importance of it. The Rod Stewart is something about it. If when I die and I got to go St. Peter. If I got to take one piece to get in, it'll be that. And then there's a Garcia piece, a couple of Garcia pieces that I like a lot. Perfecto Garcia, he does 68, 1968, never looked better, huh? And he's handsome, handsome. A guy, so funny, he was always so insecure about the way he looked. And right after he died, right before he died, his office, the business called Consensus, and they bought some Garcia portraits. And we put them up on the walls. And then he died, I mean, like within a week or something. And I was sitting with his kids in San Rafael in front of this office. And they said, Herbie, he said, you know, our dad called us right before he died, and he said, and I was just at the office and I saw these portraits of myself. You know, I'm really not such a bad-looking guy after all. And I just went, I mean, you know, so anyway, I hadn't been paid for the photographs yet, and I knew I never would. So I just went in the office, got them all off the walls, and gave them to the kids. Neil is definitely a strange guy. I mean, he was flipping the hammer and babbling, and scary guy. If you didn't, I mean, if you just encounter him, you know, walk in the room and he's in there doing what he does, it was like pretty, from what I understand, is that it was really fascinating once you got into it. Because he could carry on conversations with 6 different people on 6 different subjects at the same time. And stuff like that. And he was a maniac driver, just like they say, and you could see around corners, apparently. You know, just drive, talking, and turn a corner, and everything was okay. Just didn't really appeal to me. Weir said, don't ever get in the car with him, Herbie. So we scheduled the photographer. He was going to show up one of 3 nights. And we were going to do the photographs backstage at Henry J. Kaiser in Oakland. And so while we were doing that, we were doing the portraits for In the Dark. So each night I had a lot to do. And but of course Dylan didn't show up till the last night. So it was total chaos. They came in between the sets, and it's in a room, not a large room, big enough to do it in. And I didn't realize, but when I looked behind me, there was a whole gallery of people, and there's a horrible din. And the band members were all excited, of course, and because this is just after Garcia recovered from the coma, and they were broke, and things were really starting to happen, and they didn't understand it. They really didn't understand it. And they had Bob Dylan. Oh my God. And so they were like jumping around. They had drumsticks in his nose, and it was just awful. And I ran 2 rolls of film. The shot came from the first shot on the second roll. So everybody stopped, and somehow I managed to get them all to look at the camera. But when I looked at the proof sheets, I didn't think I had a shot. It was like the photo opportunity of a lifetime, gone. You know, and at that point, I had stopped doing music photography for like 5 years. I hadn't touched it, and forget this. I stopped my bad things, and stopped drinking and cleaned up, and didn't want to have anything to do with the music industry ever again. And they hadn't done anything in the studio for 5 years, so it was kind of an interesting thing. I got the proof sheets back, and I didn't see anything. So I had like 10 small prints made, 8 by 10s, and then I had 5 11 by 14s made, and then I did 1 16 by 20, and that was it. And Dylan wouldn't pick a shot. So and Bill Graham was driving Bill Graham crazy. So finally, Bill Graham just apparently grabbed him by the lapels and said, "This is the one." Before working with Led Zeppelin, I get this phone call from Rock Scully down the street. He said, "We're downstairs and we got a new band member. It'd be Tom Constantin." And I said, "Can we come up?" I said, "Well, I'm working with Led Zeppelin here," and sure, And so they came up the freight elevator. So this would be fun, kind of hands across the sea. Everybody will have fun. Well, back then I just say it was post-adolescence playing cowboys and Indians. Because everybody wore cowboy clothes and feathers and this and that, and actually went to the extreme of wearing handguns and carrying rifles, real ones. So Pigpen was wearing a .22 revolver on a holster on his hip. And I was working with Zeppelin in one end of the room, and he came in and pulled out the revolver and started shooting it off into the theater seats. It's not that loud a report, but it's loud enough, and it absolutely freaked Zeppelin out. They didn't pay me. They were just like those Westerners and their guns. And this is the first U.S. tour, right? Next U.S. tour, they were like, using Uzis in hotel rooms. They picked that up real fast. But this is my best story. Today, the Grateful Dead freaked out Led Zeppelin. The whole thing is about music and musicians, and the people consider the photography as important as they do is gratifying. If someone told me, explained to me, there's the music, and then after that, what is there? There's the photographs and the artwork. It's Americana. And the 60s thing has survived 40 years. And Garcia's influence is still with us and will be forever. So there's echoes of all of this stuff reverberating through the culture even now. And when you look at the street pictures, I've been seeing people like, the hair and stuff. Well, it really isn't that radical compared to what, it's set the norm. Everybody looks like this now. Everybody like this, these people, this is the role models for the Woodstock generation. And that's what we're living in now culturally.